Unisport Web TV, and I'm here in Herzogenaurach with Antonio Zea, who is Innovation Director for Football. Antonio, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
And we're going to talk innovation today. Can you start by telling us why we're here today?
Well, you're in this fantastic lab because this is the place that we squeeze as much performance as we can out of products. This is where we determine the future of sport, particularly football, as we're talking about today. But this is also where we understand where to take products. What's the interaction between a player and a boot or a ball, for example, and how do we get them to be at their absolute best? So we use all this equipment here to understand what are the limits that we can take sport and where should we take it in the future.
Why is it important to Adidas to innovate?
Our founder, Adidas, built the company on innovation. His mantra was listen, test, modify, and he always listened to the athletes to understand how he could help them be better, how we can make them better athletes. So for us, innovation is really at the core of everything that we do. It helps us understand what we can change to help someone run faster, run longer, whatever that is. That's really the core of everything that Adidas is built on. We want you to go out there and forget about the problems that you had and perform at the very best that you can. And through our products, we enable you to be the best you that you can be.
How do you as a team, keep innovating? How do you keep getting ideas? There must be some really creative minds out there.
A key thing for us to drive innovation is really understanding the consumer. We're very athlete driven, and we're very consumer centric. We put the end user at the center of everything that we do. So we speak to kids a lot. We speak to professional footballers, we speak to amateur footballers to really understand what are their needs. But we also try to understand who they are as players and people. What drives them? What makes them feel good? What makes them feel happy? Who do they want to be? And through our products, we create those experiences to help them become that.
Being a part of this team, how do you feel being so, closely connected to innovation? It must be a lot of fun.
It's an amazing job. It's a microcosm, it's its own world unto itself. We have to remember that it's not just about the technical side of just creating highly engineered products, but it's also about remembering that we determine the future of sport. It's about the fun of the game, it's about the love of the game, the passion of the game, and how can we make that come alive? And for us, we're all passionate footballers or football fans or whatever that is, and we use that passion to create the next generation of products.
Now, Antonio, if we start by talking about some of the innovations you've done, we've already seen the Crazy Light and of course the 99-gram boot, and they are the lightest boots out there. But is crazy lightweight that important?
Weight is such a factor in the game of football, and weight translates to speed. And we know that there's a player out there that they're all about speed, whether that's flat out linear speed, whether that's agility in multi-directions, but we know that speed is important in the game of football, and we wanted to enable players to be as fast as they possibly could. We know one of those ways is through making the lightest possible boot that we can, while still giving it all the performance characteristics that it needs, whether that's protection or stability or traction. But in the end, we also know that psychologically, you feel faster, you're going to play differently. You will get onto that field and you will feel that. And we know that effect is very, very powerful. So we want to make sure that we continue to build that into our products.
Now, another innovation that you've come up with is Primeknit. It's
pretty radical.
It's pretty radical, but it's basically a knitted material.
Sure.
But how did you come up with this idea, and how did you thought about implementing it into football? As
I've said, really putting the kid at the center of this, really putting the football player at the center of this, and understanding, well, what are the needs? And a very important need is it's about touch. So we just talked about speed, and now we're talking about touch. And I love to talk about these two types of players. One who's blowing up the game, who's doing things that no one really expects, and another one who's maybe controlling the game, who's controlling the direction and the tempo, switching the play, bringing the ball in, distributing it. And from maybe the 99-gram boot, which you put that on and you're like, wow, I feel like I've got nothing on, the footy sock will give you a completely different experience of I feel like I'm close to the ground. I feel like I'm close to the ball. And again, it's not just from a performance perspective, but also from a psychological perspective. So something very new and very radical. And this is still a concept, and we'll still work through this. We've worked on this for quite a number of years. It's a labor of love and research that goes into creating a concept like this.
Now, this is a crazy idea. Let's be honest, this is a pretty radical design. Have you had ideas over the years that didn't amount to anything? Crazy ideas?
We have probably more ideas that didn't amount to something than ideas that did amount to something. And one of the philosophies that we employ in Adidas Football Innovation, and I'm very passionate about it, is fail. I want you to fail. I want you to try things because it makes you take risks. It makes us push to the limits of really trying things that maybe we wouldn't try in the past, or having crazy ideas. But from that failure comes the success, comes the product that no one ever saw. It's very, very important. And again, it goes back to the mantra of listen, test, modify, and what Adidas essentially did.
Now, you're doing a lot of innovation, but does innovation mean in the long run that it's a goodbye to all the traditional stuff, all the traditional materials like leather, for instance?
Yeah, we might say goodbye to some, but that doesn't mean they're gone. That just means that the percentage of boots that are maybe made out of synthetic leather is higher than what's made out of leather right now. I don't think we'll ever not make a leather boot. But yeah, the ranges have changed over the years. They used to all be leather, and now they're not all leather anymore.
Yeah, I think there's some people who are happy to hear that leather boots aren't gone. You know, do you think that you're gonna come up with something that creates another milestone for football boots in the future?
I think it's our duty. We, as the leading football brand, have to do that. It's part of our job to lead the sport into the future. It's our philosophy to change the game.
Are we gonna look like this when we see the new stuff?
I certainly believe you will, and it's all really fun. It's really fun stuff.
Speaking of fun, what's the best part about doing what you do?
The best part of innovation is being able to dream, is to say, what if? We should try this, maybe this. And having that ability to really go out and try anything is fantastic.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much for chatting to us. It was a pleasure. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to what Antonio had to say. But what would you actually do if you were the innovation director for football at Adidas? Yeah, pretty exciting stuff, huh? Write that in the comment section below, because this was all we had for you for today. But we're back again later with more Unisport Web TV. Signing off, cheerio.